Hello YouTube, this is week 2 of Overwatch 2 hot takes. I posted on Twitter a couple of weeks ago for your Overwatch 2 hot take. I got a lot of responses, and last week's video, I got a lot of responses in the comments. So again, this week, drop your hot takes in the YouTube comments down here, join the Discord, or even reply to the main thread on Twitter, which we'll link in the description, to add yours and hopefully have a chance to get shown up on this video in which I respond with my very peculiar opinion of your hot take. So this week I have it on shuffle. Let's see what we have down below. The first one here is from Dream Hollow. Twitch chat here. You guys also let me know if this is a cold take, mild take, or an extremely hot take. Dream Hollow says the game has gone significantly worse since Jeff and his team left. They were really what brought life into the game, and the new team just isn't up to the standards we became used to. Ooh, I don't actually think this is a hot take. I think this is an actual correct opinion. Like, hot takes are like really unpopular things. I think a lot of people agree with this, to be honest with you. Overwatch 1 2016-27 was game of the year. It was doing everything right. And I think the team that they have now, it's less of they're up to the standards. I think, you know, when they hire talent, the people on the team are talented, but they're left picking up the pieces instead of, you know, working towards what an original goal was, if that makes any sense. I would imagine 95% of the team was hemorrhaged. Talent was hemorrhaged based on, you know, whatever the hell Blizzard did, work from home, return to office, RTO stuff, the lawsuits, all that stuff. A little mismatch between upper management and what the game direction was going to. So less about talent, more about a change in vision from Activision Blizzard on what they wanted the game to be. And then, you know, if you're talent and you're working for a company, you do just have to listen, and, you know, you can push back as much as you can, but like sometimes you're in a role where you don't have that sort of power, but you need like a job, and you just, you know, if you're an artist, you're animating, you're doing what you got to do. We don't know what happened to Jeff. He said his goodbyes, but if we had to speculate, I would like to believe Jeff fought for what he believed was the right direction at the time, and upper management said no, and, you know, the clash of opinions ultimately led to the departure. This hot take is Orisa and Hanzo are fun AF to play, and I genuinely don't mind playing against them either. I would actually say this is getting to the hot section. I would say I don't like playing against Orisa, and I don't like playing against Hanzo. And that's why that's their mild opinion. I mean, to be fair, I don't mind playing against Orisa as much as Hanzo. That's like, people may not agree with me. People find playing against Orisa boring and annoying. But like, what is fun to play against at this point? I feel like no one's ever happy, to be completely honest with you. When it was a Zarya meta right now, people are like, oh, Zarya's so boring to play against. When it's a Orisa meta, oh, it's so annoying to play against. Once Ramattra was super strong, oh my god, Ramatra's ultimate's ridiculous, so annoying to play against. What's good to play against at this point? Reinhardt? Is that it? Ryan playing against Winston and playing against Ryan? Are those the only two out of like the 10? People don't like playing against D.Va. Oh, D.Va's so annoying because she just eats everything. Ah, Matrix. So I guess it's just Reinverwatch and Winton Watch. That's all we got to play. Against Hanzo, I would say he's not fun to play against. Sometimes when you know they're like a cracked Hanzo, I don't mind playing against like someone who deserves it, who's really talented, but like I've died to random storm arrows bouncing around the corner. Yes, you can bounce your storm arrows, by the way. It's just so annoying when like the Hanzo's not even aiming for you and he gets a headshot on you. Okay. Okay, next hot take from Dewey. I think support is one of the least rewarding roles due to people thinking that they can basically do anything or everything. It's a stressful role, and characters like Mercy and Lucio can't really keep up in lower ranks since most people just heal bot with them and not use damage and speed boost. This is a pretty hot take, I would say. Well, I'm biased. Okay, first of all, for those who don't know me, I've been a support main for like 6-7 years. Hold on, let me get this straight. They think it's the least rewarding role because people think they can do everything. Doesn't that mean it's very rewarding to play it if they can do everything? For me, I find it rewarding simply because I can choose to do damage. I can always at least like, I can heal. I can always heal somebody. Like, even if we're losing, I can always still feel like I'm contributing because there's someone to continuously heal. So I feel like there's always like an objective for me to do. The part where they say it's a stressful role, that's only against a very specific comp. I think it's that last game I just played, if you're watching the stream, against Doom, Sombra, Tracer. Like, some supports are just very, very stressful to play because you are the target. Like, I was playing Ana against that, I'm dead. The characters like Mercy and Lucio can't keep up in the low ranks since most people just heal bot with them and not use damage and speed boost. That sounds a little bit of a skill issue. You can certainly win games with Mercy because she's a very reliable heal in the low ranks, actually. They may not be damage boosting at the right time, but their heals are very reliable. I'd be surprised that you don't find a Mercy in that rank, in low ranks. And Lucio, yes, although they're not using the speed, I'm gonna say that most people don't even use speed correctly, even up to like even low GM. Like if the Lucio is like not even in voice or anything like that, like having team engagements and disengagements are still very hard to coordinate even in GM1. In ranked pro play, like professional play, like that's scrimmed and practiced, it's a different story. But even in ranked, that's why I find a lot of Lucios in ranked play are actually just play for themselves. They just like play Reddit Lucio and go assassinate and do that stuff. So like speed boost is not even used in a traditional, conventional, correct way, even in ranked ladder. But yeah, this was a very, very hot take. So that's my opinion on trying to pick apart what they were trying to say. Ooh, hot take from Philip. Exalted Plumber says, canceling PvE was the best thing that could have happened to Overwatch 2. The entire design of the game lends itself to a top-tier multiplayer shooter. PvE could never work, and now that it's truly dead, more dev focus can be put on improving what really matters, PvP. Obviously, canceling PvE was not the best thing that could have happened. It was the option that needed to happen based on the circumstances. But the best thing that could have happened is they actually delivered the PvE that was originally promised in 2019. The part where they say the entire design of the game lends itself to a top-tier multiplayer shooter, that is true. I actually think Overwatch is a very top-tier multiplayer shooter. In fact, I think it still is, right? What other shooters are out there that can offer like the same thing that Overwatch does, right? High action-paced traditional FPS game. We have Valorant. Apex is a BR. Yes, it's an FPS, but like, you know, I think Overwatch is at its core like a very fun top tier multiplayer shooter, right? Now you're saying PvE could never work. I disagree. I do think with a bit more, I was going to say time, but then that's actually like the incorrect thing to say because they had time. With the correct management and the correct allocation of resources and the correct priorities, I actually do think it could have worked. And now that it's truly dead, I wouldn't say it's completely dead, but it's definitely a shell of the potential, and now it's more of an add-on. It's kind of a DLC to the PvP if you're interested in the story and stuff, and it should be marketed that way as a inexpensive, you know, other games do like, you know, $5-10 like bonus missions. Doesn't Resident Evil just have a DLC, like an expansion? When you get Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3 DLC, you pay $10, a couple new bosses. It's no longer near the standalone PvE, but the DLC missions, sure. And then now when you say more dev focus can be put onto improving what really matters, PvP, I mean, I'm pretty sure they have pretty much done that. All the PvE we've seen so far, like the missions that recently came out, these were done a long time ago. Like the polish on the Toronto mission, I'm pretty sure that was, I mean, even the second mission, the Rio mission, it was playable in 2019, which means they were working on it in probably early 2019, even 2018. So this stuff is old. They just kind of like refined it a little bit to have it released with this engine and whatnot. Their dev focus is on PvP. Some people will never be happy with PvP. That is just the truth. The recent heroes have been pretty good. I do like Alari. I think Lifeweaver's in a pretty good spot. But I actually just think people are just tired and fatigued of the game. And if you put in your hundreds of hours, like, it's okay to move on. I mean, I loved Halo 3, but I only played it for a couple of years. Like, if you're done, you're done, and that's fine. But I do think Overwatch PvP, not like sucking Blizzard Corp a dick, but like the PvP of the game is fun. Like, it's good. And I think it's just veteran Overwatch 1 players in 2016 are just trying to like live off nostalgia. I feel like, now this may be incorrect, but you know, I have you guys in the community. There's a lot of new Overwatch 2 players who never played Overwatch 1. And if you just ignored all the outside noise of old veteran players, I think if you just in a vacuum, I actually do think you probably find it a lot of fun, right? Like, you said it yourself. You said that's you, right? That's me in the chat. And that's like every community after a couple of years, they get very gatekeepy and like, you know, very bitter about it. I enjoy booting up Apex and playing in small doses, but if you go to deep dive in the community, like, rank system's bad, this is bad, like, how are we having this? Like, there's always gonna be things to pick apart. If I play League of Legends very casually right now, people would be like, oh my God, like League, blah. It's because those people who say, blah, have been playing for 10 years. Like, you've seen it all. But if you play now, might be okay, you know? Okay. Oh, Retro. This is Flatz's editor and manager. Since the tank is the solo role, I genuinely believe all tanks should be raid bosses for the role to be fun. In Overwatch 1, you had 2 tanks to split duties of the tank role, and now it's just stand there and counter the tank, which is ZZZZ. We want aggressive playmaking, not what we have now. I mean, we basically have Orisa raid boss when she was like, you know, buffed to the Fortify. That is a little ZZZZ. I think this is a mild take, or it's getting a little hot. I don't actually agree with this. I don't think all tanks should be raid bosses. I think different tanks should have different rules. When you sit there and stand and counter, can you really say that about Junker Queen? I feel like Junker Queen is not that kind of style. It's very like, you jig a little bit, but it's a very all-in kind of hero. Every tank has a different kind of niche. Sigma, you do kind of just chill there, poke. Sometimes Orisa, you stand there and you just, you know, soak up all the damage. You are pretty much a raid boss. Sometimes Queen is very hard to kill because she's healing so much. Remember with that Queen meta? I don't know. I feel like every tank has a different role and so many different unique tools. Some of them did not evolve with Overwatch 2, and I think that's where they are slowly addressing it, very slowly, such as Roadhog. So that's a little ZZZ, but I mean, I can agree that the other tanks in Overwatch 1 definitely complemented it. And you can, you know, when you use like math and factorials, if you have like 10 tanks and duos, what is that? Like 10 factorial, you can make whatever, 100 separate different combinations of duos. So that opened up more combinations. And I think a lot of people do miss that. That is true. Tanks need to be less lethal, but hard to kill. I think lethality is kind of what gives tanks like the ability to make space. I think the role is just like unpopular. I don't know if you guys play other games that have like a traditional tank role, but has any game done tank the way that people are expecting it for Overwatch? Like if you just remove the whole 6v6 and the second tank thing, the role has utility, has some CC, has it fun? Do you think all the CC should be baked into the tanks? All do have a lot of CC, right? Like almost all of them do. Roadhog Hook, except Queen, Orisa Spear, Ryan Charge, Sigma Rock, Zarya's Grav. We can argue that you can get rid of CC on every other hero and just keep it on tanks. I guess Queen CC is like the pull in the knife. It's soft CC, a little bit of a disruption and boop. Yeah, if you tank in like raids and other like MMOs, you just have to keep aggro and stay alive, and that is kind of what Orisa's doing. So is it really that different? But again, this is from me. I'm a support player. Like I'm not speaking on behalf of tank mains who are voicing their concerns on what tank feels like for them. I know Retro is a tank player, so like I can see where some of these feelings are coming from, but that's just my opinion on it. Okay, what is this hot take? The best Junkrats in the game have better aim than the best Widows. Hot take. Okay, we're gonna go past that one. Interesting take here. So Kiko Hayes says, kills are important, but if you're not getting the kills that matters, we lose most of the time. It's not really like a hot take. That's just true. I don't understand. That's just the game. Like you have to get the important ones. Get the kills that matter in the context of the team fight. Ooh, more 6v6 takes. Okay, let's see what they have here. OWZilla says, 6v6 could have worked and the game would have been better with it. If we kept 6v6 but also reduced CC and reduced shields like Overwatch 2 did anyway, the game would have felt close to Overwatch 2016 again. I think it's just less special now. And for me personally, I love more team play / strategy. So the part with like more strategy is true because again, if you have an extra person, like mathematically, you just have way more strategical combinations. But like even as it currently stands, even with 5, you have so many possible composition possibilities that it's like, there's going to be one that I don't even think people have done yet. You know what I mean? Reduced CC. I think CC was actually a necessary evil in 6v6, believe it or not. If you have no CC and 2 tanks who soak up that much, don't you remember things just didn't die? If you go back and even watch 2016 or like old Overwatch 6v6, even with outside of double shield, things just didn't die. Like it was just messy because there's just so much people, so much healing, so many possible things. And then feeling close to 2016, that's just a feeling you're not going to get, because I think that's just when you had nothing to compare it to in an early stage of a game. It's always going to feel amazing and fun. And like as time goes on, you know, the game always has to be evolving and people get better. People play strategies around it. And like, I actually do think everybody does say, a lot of people are saying 6v6 was better, but I really think 5v5 was a better direction for the game. It does come with its whole slew of issues, but like even reducing CC and shields won't solve what the issue 6v6 was. I mean, even before they like stopped making content around what, late 2020 or 2019, we could already see like the popularity of the game starting to go down, simply because like people have, you know, they play it out. It's been a few years, and you know, I think change is necessary. Change is good. Next. Ooh, Moira is a well-designed hero. All supports have to bring something to the table aside from healing. She brings consistent and reliable damage. Low skill floor / ceiling heroes need to be in the game because not everyone is MLG level. Bracket from an ex-Moira hater. I don't actually think this is a hot take. I think Moira, I wouldn't say well designed, but like I think she's like designed fine. And I actually agree with the take that you do need a mixed bag of heroes that are low skill floor and low ceilings. Now the problem is a disproportionate amount of value you can generate with like absolutely very, very low skill. So I guess they've tweaked it enough a little bit now where you can sort of represent your skill a little bit with like cooler fade jumps, but you can get baseline value with Moira. And I think that's okay. She actually used to be even easier because like the healing used to go through shields. You know, if there was a Sigma shield and your enemy put a Sig shield up and your teammate was like pushing up past it and you just kept healing, it would go through it. It was actually super OP in GOATs in 2018 because of that. So they've actually reduced some of the ease of her a little bit over the years. They removed some of the cheesiness of it, and they've experimented with little reworks with Necrotic Orb, but I think people just fall back and accept that she's fine as like a low skill floor ceiling hero, and she's not actually been very meta in the top 500 ladders because of that reason, but you will find some players who are just very good with her. They know how to adjust playstyles, and I do think it's necessary in the game to kind of like mix it up. At the end of the day, we have a competitive system, but we also have a lot of casual players who play, and I think it is important to kind of do your best to balance it between all. I saw someone in chat made a good point. It's fine, but don't reward low skill heroes with buffs because they are picked less at higher ranks. Partially true. You don't want to just like make it disproportionately high in terms of the value you can generate with lower skill heroes. Like her healing is very easy and reliable, and her damage is very reliable with the biotic, whatever, the suck. Also, it also reminded me that the suck used to have an even bigger hitbox. It wasn't a lock-on, but it feels like a lock-on a lot of times, because you could actually be like aiming up here and it would still latch onto a person here because the hitbox, the ability used to be even bigger. So they've already tuned it down quite a bit. Like early Moira was ridiculous with the amount. So they've already made some steps in the right direction. Could they do a little bit more to like make her a little bit more difficult to play while keeping her value? Maybe, but I think she's at a spot where like she's fine where she's good. Like Lucio Moira in some compositions still played sometimes at the high level, but reliable in low elos and in lower ranks with low skill floor, and I think that's okay for the game. This one's a bit of a long one. You kind of have to like squint in and read it. Zeldig on Discord says, I strongly disagree with the talk about removing one-hit killers like Widow and Hanzo in Overwatch. This is without trying to be biased, since I will admit I do play a lot of Widow. I agree that Overwatch is a more tactical FPS game, but it's still an FPS game, right? Snipers will always exist in an FPS game in its core, and I don't believe that they hurt the gameplay in Overwatch. I would say it creates angles, strategizing, and making you think about how you play against them or around them, instead of just running in a straight line, getting killed by a headshot, and then cry about snipers in game chat, on the forums, on Reddit, on Twitter, etc., being a problem when you never try to play around or against us properly. I also recently read a Reddit post about how Widow was someone's worst hero to play against, and that she had no real counters, when in fact, not only do they have nerfed our sniping capability in one of the most recent patches, but almost the entire hero roster can counter us. I don't think this is a hot take. Listen, I'm a support player and I bitch about Widow all the time, right? Or I'm like, I can't fucking peek, I can't do my job and heal because like you know, the Widow is just holding the angle. But like, I bitch about it, but at the same time, this is a team game. And even if I, as a support hero, can't challenge a DPS sniper in the distance a lot of the times, it's a team game. And then that's where I make the suggestion. Can we play Winston? Can you get on Tracer? Or Genji, can you like draw the attention or like of the Widow before I peek? Lately, I've been like, can somebody ping the Widow, make sure I know where she is before like I change my positioning. I've been strategizing a bit more around her, and yes, I still get sniped, and I'll bitch about it, be like, fuck this Widow. It's annoying, but like I do think snipers are a necessary evil. Some people in chat are saying Widow is fine now. They have nerfed her. 175 HP does make her vulnerable and diveable. She does have counters. Another good Widowmaker. And or literally Genji just sitting on her, she does die very easily now. She doesn't one-shot past a certain distance, which does change it on some maps. I think Widow's okay now. There's Havana when the game starts and the enemy Widow headshot me, and I'm like, oh my god, I lived, because I had like 25 HP because she didn't one-shot me anymore. I was like, oh, okay. Now people are saying Hanzo, yeah. Some people are gonna be like, well, he's kind of been the same for the past 7 years, which is true. You could arguably do it because the game is a 5v5 format. One shots are like, you know, inherently more valuable in a 5v5 game. So does the one shot from Hanzo, the log across the map, belong in the game? I mentioned it earlier in the video where like it's more frustrating when the Hanzo's not even aiming at you and he gets a random headshot that changes the outcome of the whole fight. It feels cheesy when that happens. So I think maybe Hanzo arrows, but like not headshots. It's less. I'm not as annoyed at Storm Arrow more than I am just getting randomly logged across the map. I think Widow's okay, but maybe Hanzo. I don't know what they could do to him. He's not like terribly OP because like if they're a bad Hanzo, like yeah, you can tell, you know what I mean? But like if you do remove like the complete 200 damage headshot, you could arguably go 120 and you can go the Sojourn route where it's 190 I think for the headshot, and then maybe give him power somewhere else so he doesn't one shot complete. It still does a reasonable amount, 195, but the randomness was like the most frustrating part. Okay, what are you guys saying in the chat here? What do we got? Okay, now let me read what you have to say. I said my piece. Remove bounty arrows, make scatter. Oh, scatter. No, scatter did not belong. The randomness of scatter was even worse, more frustrating than like randomly getting logged one shot across. You would actually get randomly scatter one shotted, complete by chance. It would just bounce. This is Overwatch 1 2016 was a wild time. You could literally just be way across the map and you watch the kill cam and the guy was scattering from like 6 walls away on the other side shooting like your tank, and then one stray arrow made it to your head. That was the stupidest concept in the game. Thank God it's gone. It was amazing as the Hanzo player because you're like, holy shit, I get to post this on Reddit, but it was just so stupid. In the heat of a game, if I just died to that in mid-fight, I would actually just be so livid. What makes sniping a necessary evil? I just think long range, like heroes to play, being able to be played at different angles and ranges makes the game dynamic. You know what I mean? When I say you can remove the one headshot from Hanzo, like in the multiplier, like he still pumps damage with storm arrows, and I think like having a mixed strategy of that around that is okay for a game like this. Reduce the body shot to 70 or 75, but increase the multiplier 3x. No, that still doesn't make the random headshot across the map gone. I think the body shot at 100, 120 is okay with the 195. You can reduce the hitbox of the logs, but like maybe increase charge time so he fires arrows a little bit quicker, a bit more spammier, but hey, you know, it's a circumvent healing creep in the game. True. So if he charges a bit quicker, he's actually more viable as a shield breaker, tank pressure. Still pretty lethal because he can wall climb and take angles and hold space. And he's got a leap, right? So I mean, I think it's okay. I think that's it for the hot takes today. I answered some good ones. I think some of those had some good answers to them.